Hi, I'm Jess, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to introduce you to one of my favorite books from when I was in high school, An Earthly Night by Janet McNaughton. It's a retelling of the Ballad of Tam Lin, set in Scotland in 1162. I was originally planning to recite the Ballad of Tam Lin and then compare it to this retelling. But then I actually read the original ballad and realized that I do not have the proper accent to read it out loud without embarrassing myself. So instead, I'll just put it up on screen and you can pause it and read it yourself, and I'll include a link in the description to where you can find it. This video will contain spoilers for the book. I'm also not even sure if An Earthly Night is available outside of Canada. It's over 20 years old. Now on to my review. Chapter 1. Jenny is playing chess with her sister Isabel when she sees a strange man. The man approaches and asks Jenny if she's the daughter of the house. Jenny says that she and Isabel are both daughters of the house. The man introduces himself as Cospatrick, and he's a harper, hoping to stay a little while. He spent the last 5 days crossing the forest, and Jenny is impressed that he survived because the forest is haunted by the wee folk. Patrick leaves in search of Jenny's father. A little while later, Jenny's father approaches from the opposite direction and tells the girls to stay away from Carter Hall. Jenny asks him why, since Carter Hall is supposed to be hers as part of her dowry. Her father explains that Tam Lin has been there, so it's not safe for her to go there. Chapter 2. The meeting with their father upset Isabel, and she soon leaves in tears. Jenny's old nurse, Gayleen, immediately appears because she had been eavesdropping. And they exposition dump about what happened to Isabel. Isabel ran off with the knight, then returned a few days later alone with the horses. Jenny and Gayleen go inside to work. Jenny works on finishing the blanket she's weaving for the new bondsman, who's due to arrive soon, a boy whose foot was crushed working on the construction of a new abbey, who can no longer work as a stonemason because of the injury. While they work, Jenny convinces Gayleen to tell her about Carter Hall and Tamlin's connection to it. Carter Hall used to belong to the Lins, and one night, everyone in the household, except for baby Tam Lin and a young stable boy, died from eating bad beef or drinking bad ale. The stable boy was being punished and was only allowed bread and water that night. Tam Lin went to live with his grandfather in Roxburgh, but when he was a boy, he was in a hunting accident and disappeared for days. When he returned, he was different, and some say that he had been taken by the wee folk. Chapter 3. The party arrives from Rowenwald, including Brother Bertrand and Ulrich, the new bondsman. They have dinner, and we get some more exposition dumping, this time about Jenny's father's time as a knight fighting in the war. Chapter 4. Brother Bertrand gives the family a message from the abbot regarding Isabel. Vicomte Avenel, Jenny's father, takes the brunt of the blame for not remarrying after the death of Jenny's mother, leaving the girls to grow up without a mother. Isabel is also blamed because, of course, the woman is always to blame for leading a man astray. Obviously, Isabel seduced Bledry into seducing her in order to steal her father's gold. That's some impressive mental gymnastics. Isabel is given until the end of summer to confess, or she will be taken to Rowenwald to stand before the ecclesiastical court. She is also told to stop acting as a penitent and to retake her rightful place in the household. He also declares that Jenny should marry soon before some poor boy falls for her. He offers to use his connections to help her find a husband. As Brother Bertrand is leaving, he asks Vicomte Avenel if his men can gather oak galls over the summer because they are needed to manufacture ink. Chapter 5. It's a beautiful day and Jenny wants to go riding. She convinces her father to let her go by bringing up an old joke they share. Since she was 7, she has said that she would find a falcon to give to her husband before she would marry. Her father says that she can go riding if the falconer Ranulph accompanies her. Jenny shows Ranulph where the falcons nest in the forest and then convinces him to let her go riding alone by suggesting he spend the afternoon checking his fishing weirs. Alone, Jenny decides to climb an oak tree to look for galls. After cutting off and pocketing a cluster of galls, Jenny climbs back down to the lowest bough and sits and has lunch. After eating, she falls asleep, still in the tree. Sometime later, she is woken by a voice asking if she is the spirit of the tree. The voice belongs to a young man who has ridden up to her tree without her noticing while she dozed. He helps her get down from the tree by catching her when she jumps. As he rides away, Jenny asks if she will see him again. He replies that if she wants to see him, to come to Carter Hall. Chapter 6. Jenny is so surprised by the realization that the strange young man she met in the woods is Tamlin. The strange young man she was warned was in the woods. That she forgets that she could be riding her horse and instead walks, leading La Rose and talking to her. When she sees Ranulph waiting for her at the agreed-upon location, she remembers how to ride. She also realizes how late it's gotten. Jenny is late for dinner, but no one seems to care. After dinner, Patrick plays and Isabel is coerced to sing by the knights. All the songs she chooses are pretty depressing. During dinner and the singing, Jenny is thinking about Isabel and Bledry and blaming herself for letting it happen, and her father for not protecting Isabel better. At the end of the night, Jenny compliments Cospatrick on his playing. They talk briefly, and Jenny learns that the common folk view Isabel as a hero. Chapter 7. Isabel is teaching Jenny how to run the household. It's weird that she was never taught before, because even as a younger daughter of the household, she'd still be expected to marry and run a household someday. Anyway, Alric comes to tell them that their father wants them to come and greet the noble family that has just arrived. Thane Ethenac Mac Askill and his wife, Lady Bethock, are on a pilgrimage to Broomfield Abbey in the hopes that Saint Caninia's well will heal their youngest child, Avis. They stayed at Rowanwald the previous night, and Brother Bertrand suggested that they seek charity for the night from Vicomte Avenel. Jenny makes a good impression on the Thane and his wife, and they request that she accompany them to Broomfield Abbey. The next day, Jenny accompanies them to the Abbey, but unfortunately the child passes away before they arrive. At the Abbey, Avis is buried. The next day, they return to Jenny's home. On the way, Then Ethenan and Lady Bethock reveal that they've been tasked with finding the king's brother a wife. Brother Bertrand suggested that Jenny could be a potential candidate, and they agree. Chapter 8. Everyone is very excited about the possibility of Jenny marrying Earl William, but Jenny is afraid that marrying such a powerful man would mean losing her freedom. Overwhelmed, she goes for a ride and ends up at Carter Hall and takes her anger out on some rose bushes. Tam Lin talks to her and helps her calm down. Jenny is relieved to learn that Earl William is unlikely to choose her as a wife because he has debts, and her dowry is not large enough to be appealing. Chapter 9. Jenny is told that she is to have singing lessons. Her father thinks that a lady of her rank should know all the old Norman songs. Jenny knows the songs, but she can't sing them. Isabel volunteers to help teach Jenny. 3 weeks later, a message arrives from Rowanwald. Jenny is invited to Lily's Leaf to meet Earl William. Unfortunately, Lady Bethock will not be there to make the introductions because she is pregnant and cannot travel. Jenny's father will accompany her to Lily's Leaf. Jenny's brother, Udo, lives at Lily's Leaf, where he is training to be a knight. After her father leaves, Jenny and Isabel go outside to sew and talk. Isabel reveals that she is afraid of being sent to Coldstream. She also reveals that most of Isabel's dowry is to go to Jenny. Without money, Isabel's position within the priory will be little more than a servant. Jenny starts to wonder if there is a way Isabel could be free from her obligations to the church. Perhaps she could be free and make a life with Cospatrick. Chapter 10. Jenny travels to Lily's Leaf. Although she would prefer to ride, her father makes her travel in a litter, and the rocking motion makes her nauseous. When they arrive, Earl William and Count Robert, the Lord of the Land, are busy and cannot meet them. They are greeted instead by Lady Margaret, Count Robert's wife, who instantly dislikes Jenny. Jenny, her father, and her brother decide to go for a ride to pass the time until supper. To spite Jenny, Lady Margaret decides that Jenny can ride Lervin, a large, unruly charger. In anger, she urges Lervin to run and almost tramples a group of men who just appeared in the stable yard. The group includes Earl William. Jenny keeps riding at full speed for some time before deciding it would be best to rein him in and let her family catch up. At supper, Jenny sits next to Earl William, and he ignores her. After dinner, he insists that she sit with him by the fire and for the evening's entertainment, and continues to ignore her. Soon Jenny is pushed to sing for the group so that there could be dancing. For the singing, Jenny is accompanied by a kitchen maid named Mary, who is a fantastic singer and attracts the attention of Earl William. In the morning, after Mass and breakfast, Jenny tells her father that they should leave. As she was saying goodbye to Udo, Jenny sees Mary looking exhausted and slumped against the kitchen wall. Jenny asks one of her father's men to give Mary a hair ribbon, with my blessing for her lovely voice. That was such an unintentionally cruel gift on Jenny's part. Jenny is so naive, and in her naivety was cruel to a girl who just had a terrible night. As they were about to leave, there is a commotion. It's Earl William, finally up and angry that she would leave without saying goodbye. Jenny is too shocked to reply, but he mistakes her silence for meekness and calms down. After speaking to her father, he returns to her and says they should depart as friends. Chapter 11. Jenny wants to know what Earl William and her father talked about, but knows she'll have to wait until they get home and can speak without being overheard. Earl William wants Jenny to join him in Roxburgh next week to watch him ride in a tournament. In order to learn what she can expect from the tournament and how she should act while there, Jenny decides to visit Tamlin again. She forces Ranulph to take her into the forest to see the Eyrie and her potential future falcon. After seeing the birds, she commands Ranulph to let her go off alone for a while. Near the river, Jenny hears voices and moves off the path out of sight. On the path, there are 6 men, freebooters. Jenny realizes how dangerous it is for her to be out in the woods alone. They pass her by without seeing her. Chapter 12. At Carter Hall, Jenny tells Tam about seeing the freebooters. They had been visiting Tam. They provide him with some of the things he needs to survive. Jenny tells Tam about meeting Earl William and about the tournament in Roxburgh. Tam makes Jenny swear that she won't tell his grandfather, the Earl of Roxburgh, about seeing him. He also tells her about tournaments. Jenny whines about wanting a new dress but not being able to get one on time because it'll take weeks to sew. Tam gives her with the beautiful dress, so beautiful that Jenny can't bring herself to refuse it. Chapter 13. Upon arriving at Marchmont, Jenny and her maid Hild go to the bay set aside for the young woman. Jenny is pretty bedraggled, having fallen off her horse into the mud just before arriving. As she is looking around for a place to set up, a young woman smiles at Jenny. She goes and sits next to that woman, in the far corner of the bay. The woman introduces herself as Adele, or Lady Adele de Montgomery of Maxwell, which is just a comical name. Her name is basically Adele of Montgomery of Maxwell. So silly. It turns out that Adele came to the tournament to try to tempt the king into courting her. Adele explains to Jenny how the tournament will work. When Jenny learns that the woman could only watch the melee from afar, she is disappointed. Then, when Jenny learns that there is a fair in the town of Roxburgh at the same time, she decides that she and Adele should attend instead of watching the melee. Once Jenny is presentable, she and Adele go to eat. Adele introduces Jenny to her father, who is talking with the Earl of Roxburgh, Tam's grandfather. After eating, they return to the ladies' bay. On the way, Jenny spots her brother and runs to greet him and introduces Adele. Chapter 14. In the morning, Jenny and Adele watch the jousting. After lunch, they go into town for the fair. Jenny decides to wear the dress Tam gave her. In town, Adele goes to a booth selling herbs to find something to help her new baby brother who has colic. When the woman selling herbs sees Jenny, she says, "And what are you doing here, my lady, dressed in cobwebs and old leaves?" The old woman is the town's midwife, who was once taken by the fairies to help deliver a baby, and has been odd ever since. She claims that she can see anything made by fairies, for what it truly is. At dinner, Earl William is much more attentive towards Jenny than he was at Lily's Leaf. He can't take his eyes off of her. Neither can his brother, King Malcolm. Earl William spends the dinner bragging about all the knights he unhorsed and took for ransom, including Jenny's brother. Jenny is worried about how Udo will be able to afford his ransom to Earl William. Earl William offers to forgive Udo's debt in exchange for a kiss from Jenny. She reluctantly agrees. After dinner, when everyone gathers around the fire, Jenny is the center of attention. All the young men are hovering around her and won't leave her alone, until Lady Ada, Earl William's mother, intervenes. Chapter 15. In the morning, Jenny wakes with a headache. She is certain that the dress Tam gave her is enchanted somehow, and she thinks he intended it as a cruel joke. Jenny skips breakfast and meets her father in the yard after the meal to return home. Earl William is with him to say goodbye. He sees that Jenny is ill and says that he will collect the kiss she owes him the next time they meet. On the ride home, Jenny apologizes to Ranulph. He tells her that he overheard her father and Earl William talking. Earl William will marry Jenny only if her dowry is increased, and recommended that her father do business with some moneylenders. When they arrive home, Jenny goes to bed. As Galen is unpacking Jenny's trunk, she finds it full of dead leaves, confirming Jenny's suspicion that the dress was some sort of fairy glamour. The next day, Jenny is feeling better, but she's mad that Tam would play a trick on her with the dress. She runs into Ranulph, who gives her bad news about her falcon. It's gone, probably dead. Jenny is sad about the loss of her falcon, and she slips out when no one is looking with La Rose and rides into the woods. Without meaning to, she finds herself at Carter Hall. Tam isn't there, and she cries on the floor, releasing all of her sadness and anger. Chapter 16. Jenny is woken early by Alric calling for her. La Rose's mane is a mass of tangles. Galen recognizes the tangles as Elflock. Alric and another stable hand, Thurston, spend the day untangling La Rose's mane. The next morning, La Rose's mane is tangled again, along with Alric's hair. Jenny untangles Alric's hair, and the stable master finally takes Galen's advice and installs iron bars on all the stalls in the stable to keep the wee ones out. Chapter 17. It's the full moon, and Jenny's father is holding a dance. Jenny slips away from the dance to go meet Tam at Carter Hall. Jenny confronts him about the dress. Tam invites Jenny inside to eat before explaining. Tam tells Jenny that when he was younger, he was badly injured after falling off his horse while hunting. He would have died, were it not for the intervention of the fairies. The fairy queen kept him by her side for years. Eventually, he convinced her to let him return home to his family, but the fairies still had a hold on him because of the magic used to save his life. As a result, he has a little bit of magic too. He made the dress in the hope that Jenny would attract a kinder suitor than Earl William while wearing it. The dress made men see her the way Tam saw her. They confess their love for each other and kiss. Then they do more than kiss. Much more. Afterwards, Jenny asks Tam why he tied elf locks in La Rose's mane. He says he didn't, and that it must have been the queen of the wee folk. Tam sends her away and insists that she not return after dark to visit him again. He casts a spell over her to protect her on her ride home. On the way, she decides to bathe in the river. While bathing, a group of freebooters pass by, but they do not see her, thanks to Tam's spell. Chapter 18. Sometime later, long enough for Jenny to be sure that her night with Tam Lin came with a souvenir. A messenger from Rowanwald arrives with the message. Brother Bertrand is coming in a week to hear Isabel's confession and to solemnize Jenny's betrothal to Earl William. Jenny asks Isabel what happened with Bledry. Isabel tells her that soon after running away with him, she realized that Bledry never loved her. He just wanted her money. He was going to kill her. She convinced him to let her take off her clothes before he killed her to not ruin them. Then she stabbed her cloak pin into the flanks of her horse, and he kicked Bledry square in the chest, knocking him down. Isabel then covered him with her cloak and rolled him off the cliff. Udo arrives the day before Brother Bertrand and Earl William. He talks to Jenny and tells her that he would be okay with her deciding not to marry Earl William. He will find a way to pay his debts to him. He tells Jenny that he knows Earl William isn't a good man, and the status her marriage to him will bring is not worth it. Brother Bertrand and Earl William arrive. While Brother Bertrand is taking Isabel's confession, Earl William talks to Jenny. He tells her that he plans to take her to court in about a month, where his mother will teach Jenny how to behave properly. He also says that their marriage will have to wait for a year or more, since the coffers were emptied for his sister's wedding, and his wedding must wait until his brother can pay for it. He then kisses Jenny roughly. She pushes him away. He tells her that soon she will have to obey him. Chapter 19. At the betrothal ceremony, Jenny announces that she cannot marry Earl William because she is pregnant by another man. Earl William declares that Jenny should be beaten for her sins, and Udo says that Earl William should then also be beaten for the same sins. He tells of the maid from Lily's Leaf, who named Earl William as the father of her child. Earl William storms off. Brother Bertrand says that the child in Lily's Leaf is the third of Earl William's children that he's aware of. Jenny confesses everything to Brother Bertrand, but begs him to keep the identity of the baby's father a secret. Afterwards, Udo tells Jenny that he questioned the maid at Lily's Leaf himself and reveals that she was not a willing participant. He's glad that Jenny won't be marrying Earl William. After Udo leaves, Galen sends Isabel away so that she can talk to Jenny alone. Galen has figured out that the father must be Tamlin. She asks Jenny if Tam ever told her if there is a way to free him. Jenny tells Galen that Tam said that he would never ask another to do what had to be done to save him. Chapter 20. A few weeks later, when everyone is out hunting, Galen helps Jenny slip out to go see Tam and ask him how she can free him. At Carter Hall, Tam is training a falcon. It's the falcon Ranulph was watching for Jenny. Tam stole it as a gift to Jenny. Jenny tells Tam that she's pregnant and asks him to tell her how to free him. She needs to free him because without a father for her child, she will be sent to the priory and the baby taken away. Tam tells Jenny that the fairies plan to sacrifice him to hell on Halloween. If she pulls him from his horse and holds on to him until they pass, they will not be able to stop and get him back. Chapter 21. When Jenny gets back to her father's bailey, she is greeted by Alric. He warns her that there are visitors inside, a group of musicians. Jenny spots Cospatrick on his own and calls him over to speak. She suggests that he should marry Isabel to save her from the priory. She believes that she can convince her father to let Isabel marry Cospatrick if they agree to leave Tiviotdale forever. Isabel agrees to marry Cospatrick, and Jenny convinces her father to let them wed, offering to take Isabel's place in the church. Chapter 22. On Halloween, Jenny rides out as planned. She hides, waiting for the fairy procession to pass. When she spots Tamlin on his horse, she grabs him and pulls him off. In her arms, he transforms into a newt, a venomous snake, a bear, some kind of large cat, a red-hot iron, and a flaming coal. She tosses the coal into the water-filled ditch, where it transforms back into a naked Tamlin. They need to get to shelter, but La Rose is too small to carry both of them, and Carter Hall, the nearest shelter, is miles away. Then the freebooters arrive, and they're safe. Chapter 23. It's May. Jenny is holding her newborn son, waiting for Tam to arrive. It's their wedding day. Tam insisted that they wait to get married until Carter Hall could be repaired, and to be sure that he was an earthly knight. The end. I think this book does a good job staying true to the original ballad, while also expanding on it. It's interesting that Janet McNaughton decided to make Tamlin into a sympathetic figure. Every other retelling I've read makes Tamlin into a villainous character who manipulates Janet into thinking she loves him so that she will free him from the fairies. This book was actually my first introduction to the Ballad of Tam Lin, and as a result, I find it a little jarring when he is portrayed as a bad guy. I plan for this to be the first in my series on fairy tale retellings. It counts as a fairy tale retelling, right? I mean, it's obviously a retelling, and it has fairies in it. What is a fairy tale retelling if not a retelling of a story with fairies in it? Do you think it counts as a fairy tale retelling? Leave me a comment letting me know. And leave me your recommendations for fairy tale retellings you think I should read and review. Although really, maybe I should make the series on folktale retellings. It's more inclusive that way, and expands it out to cultures that don't have creatures known as fairies but still have folklore, because every culture has its own folklore. Thanks for watching, and hit that like button if you like the video, and have a good rest of your day.